Bryce, the first overreaction that I want to talk about after the Denver Nuggets absolutely obliterated the Oklahoma City Thunder 128-95 today to get to 3-0. The Denver Nuggets will win 60 plus games this season and be one of the best teams of the last decade, maybe even 2 decades.
Here's what I'm going to say, Sam. I think I would buy this if the Nuggets want to do this. And I have no idea if the Nuggets want to do this or not. If the Nuggets are just about winning another championship, then maybe they eventually put the brakes on, depending on how competitive the West is as well, right? So if teams are nipping at their heels and all of that, and how much they value home court advantage, which I assume they probably do, I think if the Nuggets wanted to push themselves to win as many regular season games as possible, yes, I do think they could do this. They won 53 last year. KCP was the only player that played greater than 70 games, but the other 4 starters did play between 60 and 70. And I looked at 18 of the last 20 82 game season has seen a 60 game winner in the NBA, Sam. And I think the Nuggets probably are the best team in the NBA right now. Last year, we didn't have a 60 game winner. So, like, just the numbers there say we probably will have one this season unless parity is just truly happening. So, they're first in net rating after today. I think if they want to, they can.
I think they're going to win 60 plus games as long as Jokic stays healthy the whole year. And Jamal probably has to play 60 plus as well. As long as Jamal and Nikola Jokic play 60 plus games this year, I think they are going to win over 60 games. Here's the reason why. The starting lineup is going to be the best starting lineup in the NBA. I think that people probably underrated that coming into the year. I don't think we did. I think that we talked about the fact that we felt like the starting lineup was going to be great. It was just whether or not these guys all stayed healthy and whether or not we trusted the bench. Yes. Those were our 2 big questions, concerns coming into the year, right? Do we trust the bench? Do the starters stay healthy? And if they don't stay healthy, can the bench step up in the moments where they have to? So what has happened in these first 3 games? Everybody's played, basically. Yep. Nikola Jokic is averaging 26, 13, and 8. He has been absolutely phenomenal. He has obliterated Anthony Davis and Chet Holmgren in the games that I watched from the Nuggets. Like, just was ridiculous. Jamal Murray looks great playing off of Jokic. Aaron Gordon looks solid again. Michael Porter Jr., I think, has taken a leap defensively and in terms of rebounding and in terms of wanting to be that glue guy, right? Like, it feels like whatever they have done with Michael Porter Jr., whatever Michael Malone has been preaching has finally kind of come to fruition here, in my opinion, where he's fine being the guy that makes spot threes and rebounds and defends and gets some transition opportunities and maybe gets some bench units here and there where he gets to run. The bigger thing, though, is that I think the bench has been really good so far. Peyton Watson looks great. Peyton Watson is averaging 10 points per game so far. I think that Reggie Jackson has actually been really good so far, too. Reggie, I thought, looked like it might be a bit of a struggle moving forward for him at a certain point last season. He looks really good. And as long as he is able to play at this level where he's probably like just below starter quality, that's more than enough for Denver. Julian Strawther hasn't really even gotten going yet up until today. Christian Braun looks like Christian Braun, just solid energy, athletic, defensive player that can, occasionally knock down a shot here and there. And then I think Zeke Naji has been pretty good off the bench for them so far, playing his, 10 to 15 minutes, whatever he's going to play per night. So they kind of have a 6 to 10 that feels a little bit more solid than what I don't want to say than what I anticipated, but maybe I didn't expect them to gel this quickly. So the fact that you have all these dudes that can play now and you have the best starters in the league, I think this is a 60-win team. They have the best player in the league and they have Jamal Murray.
I mean, I think it was fair to have questions, Sam, and I think we
Yeah,
outlined it an episode or two ago with the age and experience, minutes played. Like Peyton Watson barely played. Christian Brown didn't exactly rack up a ton of minutes in the regular season last year. And then the age of some of these other guys, even Zeke Naji, right? And so that's when I want to talk about Michael Porter Jr. real quick. It's easier. I shouldn't say easier to buy into your role when you just won an NBA championship and now
yeah.
your coach has like everybody winning solves a lot of these issues. And I know people don't always like hearing that, but it is. You believe in it, quote unquote, working and buying into your role when you see it win you an NBA championship. But yeah, these guys off the bench, I wrote in my notes from the Lakers game. One, Peyton Watson is huge, man. Like he looked huge whenever he showed up on the court in that game. And then him and
Yeah.
Brown, they're just going to play with a ton of energy. And the other thing is a ton of swagger, Sam. They just play with like this confidence and kind of like F you, I'm just going to be like go out and play my butt off. And that is impactful in regular season games. It's impactful in the playoffs. And so, yeah, those guys have answered the questions that I think we fairly asked a couple of weeks ago. And then you said it. The starters are incredible. And Jokic, man, this dude, he has every counter you want. You have to respect the shot fake. He moves at his pace, but it doesn't matter because he's so strong. He gets where he wants. He's incredible. And then all these guys have learned to play off of him. I think KCP goes underappreciated at times. I think he's a perfect fit in that starting lineup. It just, Austin Reeves said it, Sam. The chemistry this team has, and now we're seeing it play out at the beginning of the regular season, and I think we could through the whole season.
Just because it's felt like we've been talking a lot about the other guys on this team, I do at least want to talk about Jokic really
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
The way Nikola Jokic has started this season, where he is just like, okay, now I'm just going to bully everybody.
Yes.
I am going to go down to the block and I am going to not jump, but I am so good with my up fakes, my deceleration, my touch. I'm just going to score over the top of the longest guys in the NBA. Like there's nothing that Anthony Davis and Chet Holmgren can do. I am going to go through them. I am going to bully them. I am going to make this so that you have no chance. It's fun. It's really great. Like I really enjoy watching it. Like it is. He has been a little bit more of a scorer this season than what maybe I anticipated him coming in to being. And I really love just him coming in and just being like, yeah, you guys talked a whole bunch of shit about how like I don't really care about basketball and how I'm just happy to like go bet on horses and like have my like horses race in Serbia. Trust me, I work at this shit every day. I'm going to dominate you. And he's come in and he's dominated some great defenders.
62% from the field, 46% from three, 77% from the free throw line. He just and what's crazy to me, I put it down in transition, not that they like are the fastest up and down team, but just this guy can do whatever you want in transition. In that Lakers game, he would beat everybody down the floor and get quick post position, Sam. Sometimes he would initiate the break. Sometimes he's the trail guy and he can just catch and shoot it and knock it down. Sometimes he can catch and shot fake and then attack. And again, once he gets downhill, it doesn't matter how fast he gets downhill because he's so strong. You can't knock him off his path and where he wants to go. And then I know we want to give Jokic his love, and we should, but Aaron Gordon and KCP just do what this team needs them to do. And I had that as well. KCP defends, makes shots, cuts. Aaron Gordon, all the little thing, cuts at the right time, gets a hand on offensive rebound. But again, why do these guys cut so well? Because you have the best passer in the game dotting you up every time you do cut, and that increases your wanting to isn't the right term, but your willingness to go ahead and make those cuts at the right time.
Your willingness to not have the ball in your hands.
Because that as well.
A lot of NBA players, like they grew up with the ball in their hand, right? Like if you are one of the 450 best basketball players in the world, the odds are that you played with the ball in your hands when you were younger, right? And there can be a bit of a hesitation, I think, at times to get rid of that ball often. But if you know it's coming back to you because the team around you, and especially the best player on the team, plays as unselfishly as Nikola Jokic does, you're willing to give it up and cut backdoor. You're willing to, the guy that I think has been the best at this so far for them is Peyton Watson. Like Peyton Watson, like as soon as he sees his man go and like try and double or try and help, as soon as he sees the back turn zoom, he is going straight to the basket and cutting, knowing that somebody's going to find him, no matter who it is. Sometimes it's going to be Jokic, sometimes it's going to be somebody else. So really just fantastic, fantastic stuff. Watson is another guy that I think at some point I'm probably going to have to do a video on because I've really enjoyed his game so far this year. Just really sharp. Like he had a disgusting reverse dunk, like on a baseline cut today. Like it was, yeah, he's really, really fun. He looks like a real dude, and it looks like the Nuggets and Calvin Booth have done it again. Calvin Booth, like one of the smartest, like sneaky, like smart people I've talked to in the league, like up until the Ringers thing. I don't want to get into that, like how that was characterized, but like Calvin Booth is really, really smart when it comes to team building and fit. And I think that came through in the Ringer story, but he's also just a really, really sharp evaluator of the way that guys are going to fit around specific players. And that's an important piece of getting early career production out of guys. He's just a really, really good evaluator, and I think he deserves his flowers for picking up where Tim Connolly left off and building this team.
And people will say, "Oh, well, yeah, anybody can build around Nikola Jokic." Like we've seen front offices not build around their stars in the right way.
Yeah.
Like not even the process wasn't even right. Not the process in Philadelphia, but like the process of decisions around certain stars wasn't correct. And I'm not saying every star is as good as Jokic, right? He's the MVP, he's the best player in the league. But I'm just saying we've seen front offices mess this up, and he continues to get it right. And Peyton Watson also shooting 44% from three. So really, really good. So I have one question before we move on. What if they do need somebody else? What if, Christian Brown hits a bad shooting slump or somebody gets injured, God forbid. I'm looking at these names. You have Jalen Pickett, Braxton Key, Colin Gillespie, Hunter Tyson, Justin Holiday. Those are the guys kind of next in line.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of assets. I listened to you and Danny LaRue do the extension, and you talked about this where, Zeke Naji contract, potential trade if you need it. I don't see a path if something were to happen where they needed more depth. It's kind of hard for them to do that. And so that would be my only worry right now. And it's very, very, very nitpicky.
So I think they do still have quite a few seconds for what it's worth. Like they have one 2024 second, a 2025, a 2026, and a 2029 second, it looks like, and a 2030 second that they can move. So if necessary, I think that they can make it work. Like the interesting one for me for them was I was wondering if they could go and find like one of these 2020 draftees who didn't get extended, who made like Sadiq Bey. Like, could you basically use Sadiq Bey as a fill in? You'd get his restricted free agency rights, but you'd essentially be using it as a rental idea where like something like that could work with the seconds. I'm just like kind of throwing names. Like I don't mean to specifically say like Bay is on the trading block or anything like that, but younger guys with like lower cap hits, I think you could probably swing in some way, shape, or form, maybe.
Because the Najee contract now is the poison pill, which isn't as bad as some, but it's essentially 7+ going out, but only 4.3 coming in. So that changes things. And then just for anybody who like they can't trade a first round pick unless they somehow resolve it. They owe 1 to OKC and 1 to Orlando. So I don't think they can trade a first round pick at all because of the stepping rules. So I think it would have to be seconds. And then there's just not a whole lot of salaries to match. KCP's is in the right range, but you're not trading KCP, obviously. So that was the only thing. Again, very nitpicky, very small, but I just like, what if these guys would happen to, hit a real bad slump or they don't think he's going to be ready for the playoffs? What's a path to add somebody that would make sense and be able to, help out in the rotation?